Hi, and welcome to What the RA, a podcast about balancing your life, living happily, traveling, and gaining financial independence, all whilst having a chronic illness. On this podcast, I'm interested in helping others with chronic illnesses to feel better about their lives in spite of life's challenges. I know from personal experience that this can be very hard, especially with all the difficulties you face in dealing with chronic illnesses. So if you're a family member or a friend of somebody dealing with a chronic illness, thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you stick along with us on this journey so that you can learn and also share your opinion on what it's like to care for somebody who deals with a chronic illness. So if you like what you're hearing, please do stick around because right now it's time for What the RA. I missed a week of recording last week because it was a bit of a emotional roller coaster for me. It was one of those tough RA weeks, but here we are back again. Still trying to be consistent, so I hope you are listening and on the ride with me. Thanks for tuning in again if you are, and if you are new, then listen to all the episodes that I've done so far. It's been 3. This is the 4th one. And I should be posting weekly. So just a bit about last week. I was having a lot of frustrations with, let's just say, my emotional health. Within this RA journey, having flares and just feeling a bit overwhelmed by where I am. And so I thought, let's just make this a topic for today. Feelings of overwhelm can come like sporadically and randomly, catching you off guard and by surprise. So that's what happened to me, and this happens often for a lot of people. I said previously in an episode not to stay in that funk and not to let these down times take over your life, but to feel your feelings. And to be honest with you, for a few months now, I've been trying hard not to feel my feelings because I'm generally a emotional person and I don't like that. So I'm always working on, building on my emotional health and doing things to be stronger, like exercising and going for walks and being outdoors. Those things really help, and obviously being around people who are supportive or people who are generally just good listeners, good friends, and good partners that understand what you're dealing with and what you're going through. And I've been pretty much back home for about a year now, and I'm itching to travel again, but I obviously have to get some health things sorted out first, as well as to just recenter everything and get a new routine going, because I used to be an ESL teacher working abroad. I'll get into that in another episode, but I used to work abroad, and having that lifestyle, you often travel and do things that excite you and keep your endorphins happy. You're just always doing things that generally take you out of your head. And so being back home in a country that has been, let's just say, unfamiliar to me, I've spent the last 8 years traveling mostly. So it's been a time to reflect a lot and think a lot and decide what I want to do with my life moving forward and where I want to go to next, because I definitely want to travel. But my health situation has made it so that I have a much needed break. And on this break, and last week specifically, it was just too much of a unsure reality as to what my future is going to look like. I had an idea, and then things happen with your health, and then it's like, I don't know if that is possible anymore. And I'm just in my head a lot about those kinds of things. But I'm over that now, thankfully. I have been feeling a lot better, And I've also gone back on track onto my original plan. You just have these down days that can just make you feel like you don't know what to do and you don't have a clue as to what your life is supposed to look like. And I know that for a lot of millennials, they go through this as well in their own dynamic with whatever they're dealing with in life. And, not just millennials, people in general. I just happen to be a millennial, and I know that a lot of people are struggling right now. And I know I'm not alone in that. When you get upset and down, it really can create these flares and make you feel not yourself. And you can get stuck in that. And that is something that I'm aware of and work hard to avoid. So yeah, I just wanted to discuss that a little bit because that is indeed a reality of this disease or of chronic illnesses. And it can really get to you every once in a while. So, yeah, I know that my eating plan and just general lifestyle that I've had, especially lately, has helped a lot in, clearing my mindset and making things easier in my everyday. So I was slacking a little bit, to be honest. In the last week, I have been slacking, and I'm not sure if that's directly related to my feelings I've had, but I'm assuming it is. So I've just gone back on track, and we'll see. I'm going to challenge myself to stick to it for longer, like to continue this lifestyle, because it really has been working for me. And I know I said that in the previous episodes that you should really try to stick to eating clean because it can affect your emotional health. And I definitely did not follow my own advice, so I need to do better. I need to be held accountable for that. But you just have those days, you have those weeks where you feel generally a little bit more emotional than you usually do. And so I would like to open the discussion to you. What do you do in those days where things are just extremely overwhelming and you get in your head and all the things that you thought you had figured out, plans that you had, lifestyle changes you've made, or anything that was laid out for you in a certain way or on track just goes haywire, just goes off track and just makes you reassess your life. Do you in those moments just let your feelings be and feel the things that are frustrating you? Or do you allow yourself that space to experience it and then do something else afterwards, like therapy, speaking to friends, going for walks, traveling? Do you like to stay in those feelings for a while? Does that help you at all? Like, what are your coping mechanisms? I'm really curious to know what other people do and how they, aka you actually, how you hold yourself accountable in those times. And where are you now with all of that? Are you struggling with any particular stresses in your life or feelings about something specific in your life that you haven't yet conquered or that you are wanting to do? Is something holding you back that you feel that you aren't able to address right now or even in the future? And if so, have you created an action plan? Something that's going to help you to get past that, like starting with small goals and then helping you achieve bigger goals. For me, I have goals that I have been working on for a while, like my long-term goals, and they're forever changing. Once I've reached them, then I've got a new one. And so I have a lot of small goals, or let's just say short-term goals, that I like to achieve in order to get to those bigger goals. And I know that for some people, setting goals can be a bit limiting or not very motivating for them because they may feel like they're setting themselves up for failure. But I started believing a lot in manifesting and just, setting things up for yourself so that you are motivated to do things that you want to, especially in the long term, but not only focusing on the long term, but focusing on the short term. And doing these things right now that can help me get to my long-term goal is what makes every day just a lot easier to manage with my chronic illnesses and a lot easier to get through when I'm dealing with hardships, because I'm like, I know I have these things I have to get done today or this week, and I'm doing these things because I want to reach the long-term goal that I have. So I'm just asking you guys these questions because I would like to know what else I could try, when you are just in a funk and you have things to do, but you know that the things are actually what's helping you and what's going to pull you out of this funk. So you have to get on that. You can't stay stuck in these emotions. You have things to do. You have a positive life that you want to live, and that's just what you got to do. But I'd be happy to hear about other perspectives and see how other people with chronic illnesses deal with those tough situations. And again, I don't know if it is, my diet or anything, but ever since I've been eating clean, my rheumatoid arthritis symptoms have decreased a lot, like a lot. I used to wake up with pain all the time, and I used to feel really sick and nauseous and dizzy and all the things almost every day, basically every day, and for long periods of the day. But now that I've been eating clean, I haven't really experienced it as much. But what I really want to work on is instead of physical health, is my mental and emotional health, to limit the periods of overwhelm that I experience, especially monthly. That is at least a day or a week in a month sometimes that these thoughts and stresses come around. So I'm very curious to know if there's any eating styles that have worked for you or lifestyle changes you have made to get you out of those funks. I hear all about the parasite cleansing that might help. I've mostly been doing dietary treatments for parasite cleanses and things like that, using things like papaya, but I don't always have that. I just want to know if you felt a big difference when using those remedies in terms of how you feel with your mental and emotional health. Has that helped? Because I know that a lot of people who suffer from chronic illnesses may feel some sort of emotional stress often. It can happen a lot. So how do you deal with that? Is therapy the only thing that works, or friends, or anybody who makes you feel comfortable enough to open up? Does that help you? Or is there more than that? Because I always try to think of things that can help me physically, and I know that diet helps with that, but I also know that it does help you with your mental health and your emotional health. But I just am not sure exactly which path to take with regards to focusing on those things specifically, because obviously diet can really improve things for you physically, but the emotional thing, I'm not so sure as to what might work, but I believe there are some things that do work for that, and especially the parasite cleanses in controlling your emotions, cravings, things like that. So today's episode is going to be a short one today. I just wanted to come on here to speak about my absence last week, and just to get your side of things when you guys are feeling the way I felt, just stuck in your head and overwhelmed and stressed out. As I think I've been saying the same thing in different ways throughout this episode, but that just goes to show how heavy it's been on my heart and my mind. And I also know that obviously some of you are going through that as well. I'm just sharing my side because maybe that helps, and I would love for you to share your side so that it could help me as well. But for next week's episode, we are going to be making things a lot lighter. We're going to be speaking about my international travels, life abroad with chronic illnesses, and things I did and will continue to do as I continue my overseas journey. Very soon, I hope. I'm just working on some things to be able to move abroad again. And then I'll be documenting my digital nomad travels, hopefully, on my YouTube channel. And by the way, speaking about YouTube, I have not really uploaded much there at all. I've just been uploading these podcast episodes to YouTube. But I do want to eventually, hopefully soon, either on this channel or on my personal channel, upload content about my RA journey, maybe like a daily series. Probably not daily since I'm not sticking to the weekly episodes right now, but I'm trying to, and I will improve as long as you are listening and get some value out of this, but also as long as I feel like sharing my journey, because this is sort of a place, as I mentioned, I think in the first episode, for me to return to when I'm feeling any kind of way, whether that's good, sad, overwhelmed, or anything. I can use it as a tool and refer back to this at any point in time if I need it. So obviously it is helping me as well. But I do want to document my nomad experiences abroad and just share what it's like to have arthritis, how I get medications, how I travel, documentations, and things that I need in order to travel with chronic illnesses internationally. I think I might be going to Thailand or to Uruguay. I'm not sure where, to be honest, but those are the places I'm thinking of starting at. Let me know if you would like to see a series on international travel like that, like traveling abroad and living a digital nomad-ish lifestyle. I'm not sure that I'll be doing the most that you see a lot of digital nomad travelers doing. I'll probably just be slow-madding. So yeah, and I'll also get into how I have traveled in the past. When I was abroad, that is when I got diagnosed with RA. And yeah, that is a whole story on its own. So maybe I'll go into getting diagnosed with arthritis in next week's episode, and then following that I might go into my endometriosis story, and then I'll also discuss the other conditions that I have because of having an autoimmune disease. I'd also like to find out if you have endometriosis and rheumatoid arthritis. What is the correlation there? Because I'm sure there must be some sort of correlation between the two diseases. I know they say that endometriosis is not autoimmune, but honestly, it really feels like it is. What do you think it is? And are there any studies or something I can reference that could tell me more? I tried to look up some information on it, didn't find much. Are there any groups for these conditions specifically? I'd love to learn more about that. Yeah, so those are the things you can expect from me for the upcoming episodes. I want to hear from you what else you think I should speak about. Would you like to have a discussion with me? I would love for anyone listening to join in with me in discussion, especially when it comes to figuring out how to manage these conditions, how to be our best selves, how to have a great lifestyle, and how to just have this positive energy and positive mindset, lifestyle, all the things continuously on an everyday basis. So yeah, if you think you want to discuss your journey with me, please do reach out. I'd be eager to hear from you, and we can get maybe you on a regular basis to talk about your experience with me so that we can help other people learn from you and to just share different journeys, especially when it comes to what you guys do to earn a living, because it's rough out here for people with chronic illnesses. And I think actually, let's just call a spade a spade. The world right now is not looking too great for anyone, actually. So yeah, let's get into that. I'd love to learn about what you do, how you cope with your chronic illnesses, and just more about you in general, because your story is important too. So reach out to me. Thank you for listening, and let's keep it light as much as possible. I just wanted to share my journey this week because things get real from time to time, and I know that there are other people out there struggling, so I hope this helps you. But we will and can get through these tough situations, so I'm rooting for you. That's all for today. I will speak to you next week on What the RA. Goodbye. Thank you so much for listening to the episode. I look forward to hearing from you in the comment section of the social media pages that are linked in the show notes and the YouTube page. But thank you once again. I hope to see you next time. And this was What the RA.